Welcome to the Well podcast. So, I've got a special guest today. I've been so excited about this conversation because so many of you look at me and you wonder, well, what in the world is Wame doing? And I'm going to talk to the source of my ultimate lifestyle transformation. This is one of my heroes and just a wellness revolutionary. We've got Dave Sandoval on the well today. He is the founder of Purium Superfoods and a father, a husband, a wellness revolutionary. He's just doing so many great things. And I'm excited to just have this heart to heart with you, Dave. Welcome to the well.
Awesome. Well, the well is deep.
Yes, it's deep. It runs deep, man. And you are deep.
And
You've
I
got,
wish you well. So we're in the right place.
we're in the right place. I appreciate that, brother. Yeah. So let's get into this conversation, Dave. First and foremost, I am a product of the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation, which is Purium's premier program. And we're going to get into all of that in a minute. But I want to talk to you. I want to talk to Dave. I want you to tell our audience about your heart. How did you get into this? What's your background? What's your story? What's your origin story?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. So I'll try to, get to a certain point where, let's just say that I was raised in a household that was a little bit dysfunctional. And violence was basically no stranger to me, either in the streets where I grew up with or the house that I came home to. And my aunt and uncle, when they saw that my parents had liberated me, um, they asked if I wanted to live with them. So I moved up to Northern California, and I'll never forget that day, because the day that I got on the plane, it snowed for the first time in 40 years in Southern California. And I said, God's sending me a message, just saying this is destiny. So I went up to live with my aunt and uncle in Northern California, and I had some things that I wasn't used to, like food and a bedroom, that I had to myself. Getting used to sharing a bedroom with two or more people is cool, because you got somebody to talk to. But it also, once you get to be a certain age, it's not as cool. So anyway, just having a bedroom was nice. Having food was nice, but I soon realized that the food that we had all came in cans or was cooked in a microwave or was like a TV dinner. I don't know if you remember those that were
Yeah.
in literally an aluminum plate that you heated up to a high heat and then ate food out of it. Just think about that. You know, and so uh, the effects of that soon became obvious to me, because one day when I was ditching school, came home to my house. I didn't think that anybody would be there, and the door was locked. So I looked to where the key usually was, and it wasn't there. And I looked through the window, and I saw my aunt, who was, by the way, my hero. She was like the most amazing woman that I had ever known. On my birthday, every year of my life, she would come and take me away for all day, and I could do anything I wanted. Disneyland, Magic Mountain, ice capades. It didn't matter. I could eat any food that I wanted, go to 31 flavors 3 times if I wanted. It didn't matter. I wrote a ticket. It was a yes day. And no matter what we asked for, they said yes, my auntie and my uncle. And so, she's the one who rescued me from my liberation to the streets. And I saw her. By the way, she did amazing things. Like, she taught water babies. She taught kids to swim when before they could walk. She taught her own kids how to snow ski and water ski by the time they were 5. She was just an amazing mom, an amazing woman. But she didn't know much about nutrition. She didn't know much about food. And now bring us back to where I was looking through the window on that day I ditched school. And I see her trying to hold a coffee cup, and her hand was shaking like this. And so I knocked on the door and said, Auntie, I'm sorry I ditched school, but tell me what's going on with your hand shaking like that. Are you okay? And she said, I didn't want to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm dying.
Yeah.
I'm dying from multiple sclerosis. And they told me I don't have long to live. And she said, but Tom, my uncle, is doing everything he can. And I talked to my uncle and he said, I've got these specialists coming in from Germany, from Japan, and they tell me it was because of the food that she ate. The artificial colors, the artificial sweeteners, hydrogenated oils, red dye number 3, blue dye number 6, you go on and on. And she thought it was amazing that she didn't have to spend her time cooking and washing dishes like her mother did. She had time to do other important things like homeschool her kids and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So she didn't know. And you don't know what you don't know. And most of America right now doesn't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And 75% of the food they eat in the grocery store is literally killing them. And
Yeah.
they just don't know it. And so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing today. Because here we are
Mhm.
50 years later, and people still don't know that the food they eat is killing them. And
Absolutely, Dave.
so,
Yeah.
yeah. But
And
she
to
thought
be,
it was amazing that you could drive through a line and talk to a clown
yeah,
and get your food, you know,
exactly. And just
drive to the
think about
Golden
the
Arches.
impact. Yeah, the
Hmm.
impact that that made on your life and it's still making. I've seen you tell that story in person and the emotion that welled up in you, that was the start of your mission. That was the pain point that awakened you to your mission. It's the family. I can tell you very similar stories within my own family as well. And so that awakened your heart to more. And then I know, from your story, you went through quite a bit. You just shared today on social media the work that they were doing. And I can't remember what country it is to shelter the homeless. You've been homeless, you've gone through so much in life. What gave you the ability to persevere and to see this vision that came from the pain that you experienced watching your aunt and other family members and people around you and starting to realize, oh, we're eating out of cans? When did you begin to get awaken to more and your mission?
I can't say that there was one defining moment. I think it was when I realized I could. I think that when I realized that, so I have this little joke I say that when I was young, they told me I was nobody. And so every time I hear them say nobody could do that, I think they gave the job to me. So I've always just had this, I'm just fearless. I don't know how to explain it. Like nothing gets me down. You can't put me down. I wake up singing every day, even if I'm crying at the same time, I wake up singing.
Yes,
I have joy in my heart. I have passion in my mission. Um, I feel pretty invincible,
yes,
because I really believe that I'm on the right side of what needs to be done. There's no
hmm,
doubt there's angels on my shoulders and God at my back,
truly.
So, so when you're doing the right thing for the right reason, you've got nobody to apologize and you got nobody to fear,
Right.
you can't, there's no time or room for that. So
Absolutely.
it's just destiny. It's destiny. Things were just dropped in my lap, and they said, "Here, we need somebody to carry this."
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
we need somebody to carry this forward, and I did. So I
Absolutely.
worked for a Japanese pharmaceutical company. They claimed they were going to make Chinese medicine more like uh, brought through the pharmaceutical validation, but turned into more like a nutrient thing. And they called themselves the Green Food Corporation. So I went
Mm.
to work for them, and in 6.5 years, I grew their sales by like 20 times, you know. Um, but then I kept asking Dr. Hagiwara, like, what is it that I want to know? Like, I want to see lab reports of exactly what is in what I'm selling, because otherwise, how could I trust it? And he wouldn't do that for me. Well, little did he know that I didn't really need the money I was making working for him, because I had made my money already in the stock market. I retired from the stock market and said, now I got to do something that's my heart. I open the paper, and the first job I see literally says Green Food Corporation needs a sales manager. And I'm like, I applied for the job. I got the job. because before I was a stockbroker, I was a devotee of Ann Wigmore. And Ann Wigmore is the mother of green food. She taught wheatgrass therapy. She had the Hippocrates Institute in Boston. She taught me how to sprout and how to juice and how to take all the power of the sun and harness it for my own health. So when I saw an opportunity with a company called the Green Food Corporation, it just seemed to be destiny.
Yeah. Powerful. I've heard this story, and just as you're speaking, I'm trying to not cry because I don't want my mascara to just fall out down my face. But I mean, Dave, the passion within you ignited the passion within me. Everything that I have built has been literally watching you, has been under your tutelage. And I just want to
Oh,
give you
wow.
your flowers right now. I want to give you your roses.
Yeah. Thank you. Um, we have to pass it along, man. We have to pass
We
that
really
along.
do. And it's so hard sometimes.
Yes.
It's so hard because people don't understand how important it is to take care of themselves. But you have
Their
given
cells.
us of themselves, right? Self care
No, their cells. I
of their
said, yeah.
selves. Yes. Ha, that part. We're about to get into that. You bringing us together. And I'm sure many of you out there have seen throughout the years, I am a brand partner, what's called a diamond leader within Purium. Yeah.
Let me just finish that story real quick
Tell the
because we're
story,
getting to the
Dave.
most important part. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Tell it.
the doctor wouldn't give me lab reports on his product, so I sent them out with my own money.
Yeah.
And what came back, he told me it was organic, pure, and raw. It
Mm.
turns out it had chemical residues of chemical fertilizers. It didn't have any living enzymes. And it was 40%, listen now, maltodextrin, which is basically corn sugar, right? And so I was so furious. I was so furious that I gave up the life that I had, that I was living with all the money I made in the stock market, living in really nice houses with really nice cars and eating anything I wanted, organic, being able to afford anything I wanted. And I sold everything. And I miraculously was introduced to somebody who had created a technology to make 100% pure, additive free, and without heat. Okay.
Mhm.
This person was living in the mountains in Utah in huts with this technology. And I said, how would you like to be financed? How would you like to be able to build huge machines to use your technology? How would you like to buy a huge farm and everything it's going to take to grow the food that we could try and bring to the world? And he couldn't believe it. So here I went and I took this family that was living in huts and I enriched them beyond their wildest dreams to bring their technology to the world. And guess what I did? I moved into a little warehouse in a ghetto,
Mm.
and that became my offices. It became my manufacturing plant. I had a microbiological lab in this little tiny warehouse that was where I lived as well. 1,200 square feet. Most houses are bigger than that. And that was my office, my home, my manufacturing plant, my microbiology department, everything under that little roof. And I brought this food to the world. And just look where we are now.
Look at where we are now. Look at where we are now. And you've impacted so many lives, including mine. Including mine. If you don't know the
30,000
backstory,
packages a month.
30,000
30,000
packages a
packages
month.
a month of healing food
Yeah.
going out to the world, being delivered directly to your doorstep with the
What
quality of food you could
what
never
power.
find yourself. And even if you did, it would take so
Yeah.
long to gather it up. It would be so expensive to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I did what nobody else could do. I made fast food out of the highest quality food in the
Hmm.
world. I
Absolutely.
deliver to your door just like Uber Eats. Okay.
Yes.
And
Yes.
now, if you're ready to, if you desire to eat the highest quality food on the planet, you could do so in a big way
Yeah.
for between $10 and $13 a day, which is less than you'd spend at a fast food drive through, less than you'd spend at Starbucks.
Mm.
And you change that, not less than, but I mean, if you
Yeah.
combination of those things most people
Yeah.
do in their day, and suddenly you could live with the food at the highest vibration, the highest purity, the highest potency
Hmm.
available on the
Hmm.
planet. So when
Yeah.
you're ready, and not everybody is,
Right.
but when
Right.
you are ready, you and I are here for them. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Living examples. I mean, when I tell people I will be 50 in a few weeks, they cannot believe it. And I started telling people what I was getting into in my early 40s when I started the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation. I'm preparing to do my 15th Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation. Since I was 43 years old, I had so much cellular damage, so much toxic overload in my body. I suffered from extreme depression. Being here in this cold climate in Ohio, it gets really, dreary in the wintertime. And so these superfoods nourished my body and helped me to get my vitality back. But you know what else? It was the community. It was the partnership. It was what it did for my brand. I tell people there would be no the Mark Total Body Wellness Network, if it wasn't for Purium. There would be no Coach Wha if it wasn't for Purium. And I wanted my audience to know and to see this is the power of ecology and economy. I just became $100,000 earner within Purium. And so excited to come to our next gathering. I've got to meet you a few times in person, which your heart for the leaders that you've gathered to spread this message of transformation throughout the world. You bring us together and we're very close. Many of us, we work together, we understand the mission. And I want you to talk about the economy and the brand partnership and just that aspect and how you brought so many leaders and just even your average person, into a place where they can only not build health, but they can build wealth at the same time.
Thank you. I just want to say that I'm closer to 70 than I am to 50, um,
You look amazing.
by a long way. And
You look amazing.
And people say, but Dave, you have gray hair. I said, I have hair. You have to
Yeah,
have hair before it could be gray, you
right.
know? So, and I've got a 2-year-old baby that I play with like I was 30, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
I got a 6-year-old who I chase around, who chases me around playing tag for hours, you know? So I have vitality. I have a will to live. I wake up every day with a smile and a joy in my heart. And the truth of the matter is, and I'm not afraid to lean in.
You look
You
great,
know,
Dave. You
that's
look
what my skin
great.
looks like, for better or worse. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the question you just asked, I forgot it already because I just want to finish that
No
story.
problem. Yeah. Well, I want you to talk about, because you just talked about the ecology and the regenerative farmers and how you brought the whole thing together to bring us this fast food superfood that we can get delivered to our doors. Now, I want to talk about the
Yeah,
partnership because I'm a brand partner. I have
yeah,
been
yeah.
for almost 6 years. And it just took off for me. And I've been loyal to our commitment. And I looked at it as such. I came in with a heart to serve, and you have led as a servant. You lead us as a servant. And so, talk about the how you built the economy of Purium, and you've not only given us an opportunity to build health, but now we have a revolution that we started where we also get to bring an economy to the world of building health and wealth.
Well, I guarantee you that if you asked any company owner who makes the most in their company, what would they say? This guy, right? And then who makes the most? Well, the vice presidents. And then who makes the most, right? So right now, we have got dozens of people in our organization that make more money than I do. Stop
Yes.
and think about that. Dozens and dozens of people in our organization that make more money than I do. And I wanted a business that served for, think about this. Imagine if you could live anywhere you wanted to live and still have your job. Imagine if you could work any hours you wanted to work and still have your job. Imagine if you could handpick the people you want to work with to build your business. Imagine, because you're going to have to imagine, because nobody else offers that I know of but us.
Right.
And so we have a compensation program that is extremely fair and generous. It means that you could look at it and decide how much you want to make. And I'm not joking. You can
Oh yeah.
literally look at it, decide how much you want to make, put that as your goal, and start working toward that goal. And when you get to that goal, that's how much you're going to be making or more. There's no tricks. There's no, you know what I mean?
None at
There's no
all. Hmm.
games.
It blew
And
me away.
so, yeah.
It blew me away, Dave. I remember when I got my first check, I was like, what is this? Like they're paying me to tell my story and to be a light to the world. Just amazing. You've given us a great opportunity. And I want to talk specifically about people like myself who are building our brands. We're coaches, we're mentors, we're leaders, in our communities. And what this has afforded, because of Purium, I was able to build my first app, the Mark Fit app. Shout out to the E3 Club members. I have never taken a loan for my company. Do you guys hear me out there? Purium has funded the Mark with no loans. Okay. And I can go as high as I want. There have been seasons, I went through a divorce and I kind of had to go through some things through that, but I can go as far as I want. And I'm always going to lead by example because I intake these superfoods. I live it. And so there's the proof, as you say, a walking billboard. Yeah. So you've given us a great opportunity. It's just so exciting. And one more thing I want to talk about is how we got fired up when we watched Common Ground on Sunday. We had a watch party, and we were just talking about that yesterday and how we got fired up. We were like, we are on the trajectory of the next level in our partnerships and
So,
our mission.
about 12 years ago, I saw a movie called Poisoned Paradise. It was
Mm.
about Hawaii, where I've lived, where I have so many friends. And it talked about how slowly all the fishes are dying around the coral reefs. The coral reefs are dying, the birds are dying, and the farmers are dying. And the reason why is because of Monsanto. Monsanto uses Hawaii as a training ground to test their chemicals. And finally, the natives stood up and did something about it, right? So I watched this movie called Poisoned Paradise, and I said, you know what? I can't believe. And I did some research and found out that the same thing is happening uh, in the States, on the mainland. And I said, well, why doesn't anybody do anything about it? So I prayed. I don't think I'm crazy, but I prayed. And literally within months, all three different elements were presented to me. One of them came from the family of Albert St. George. Albert St. George was the person who discovered vitamin C. Discovered vitamin C cured scurvy. All these different things, right? Well, of course, Linus Pauling stole that information and won a prize for it. But let's not talk about that.
Oh,
The bottom line is that Albert St. George's family came to me and said, we realized that the cows were all dying of leaky gut syndrome. The cows weren't able to give milk and all these things because their guts were so compromised. And the reason why is because they're eating grass that's been treated with glyphosate, right? And so at the same time, I learned about lactospore, this incredible prebiotic that is just amazing, stable, powerful. And then, and then I was learning all about humic and fulvic acids. And I said, wow, maybe if I put the humic and fulvic acids into a formula, it will help free up and loosen the chemicals that are stuck in your intestines, right? And your colon. And then maybe, right, if we have this lactospore, that once it's freed up, the lactospore blooms and goes and like hungry hippos gobbles up all of the chemicals, right? And then once that's eliminated, we have the thing that Albert St. George's family brought to me to repair that leaky gut, to start to repair that permeability. Because what
Yeah.
happens is your nutrients flow out and the chemicals flow in once your gut has that condition.
Hmm.
Now, the inflammation is the number one thing that is caused by, okay, I guess the most harmful thing that's caused by this glyphosate toxic poison that's been sprayed on food. This glyphosate toxic poison that billions and billions and billions of dollars have been paid out to plaintiffs when they sued and said this killed me. And they said, yeah, we know it did. Think about that. Yeah, we know it did. Let us give you some money. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Let us just give you some money because we make so much money selling this stuff that it's actually cheaper to give out tens of billions of dollars in settlements than to stop selling it.
Terrible.
They just don't
That's
care.
wicked. Yeah, that's like evil. Like why? I mean, and that's a whole nother subject as to the mindset of
Yeah. So I
individuals
came
that.
back with
Yeah,
fire in my belly, right,
yeah,
to
yeah.
do something about it. So I actually created this formula, speculated that might help, but then I did something crazy. Just asked my business partner. We spent tens of thousands of dollars doing a double-blind clinical study to prove that it would work. And guess what? It did.
Yep.
And now we have, and please listen to me here, now we have the only clinically proven solution that could literally flush this toxic chemical that's killing you out of your body. In
Yes.
only 6 weeks, we could reduce that toxic chemical by 75%. In only
Yes.
6 weeks, we could repair your gut by more than 30%, making it, again, work again. And
Yes.
so C-reactive protein, the biomarker for inflammation, was reduced by 75% in only 6 weeks. So we
Wow.
have a solution to what I think is the biggest problem facing America today.
Yeah.
Now, got to understand that this movie you could download for free on Prime Video. You
Mm-hmm.
could join one of our watch parties, but
Mm-hmm.
you will go away after watching that movie with fire in your belly. I've seen it 5 times now, and I have to admit that each and every time I'm motivated, re-energized, fuel is put into my engine to do something about it because most Americans are not going to avoid glyphosate. They're not. They
Right.
have brands
Right.
that they trust. They're going to walk into the store. They're going to grab that brand. They're going to grab that bread. They're going to grab the thing that they like the most. They're going to put it in their
Right.
basket. They're going to take it home and they're going to consume it. And I can't stop them. As much as I preach and prod, I can't stop them. But what I
Mhm.
can do is I could give them one little pill in the morning
Yes.
and maybe another little pill at night.
Mm-hmm.
And 75% of that toxin could be gone from their body.
So
And that's
powerful.
powerful.
That's why I
Yeah.
call you a wellness revolutionary, Dave. That's why I tell everybody not just about Purium, but about you and also Amy. In her heart, Amy is just so precious. We're all criers. Like every time I get around Amy, I'm like, oh, I'm about to cry again because the story of how you two came together. I've got to get her on the podcast too. Maybe we'll have you guys together. That's a whole nother story, and we would take too much time to talk about his amazing business partner, Amy Veneer, and the work that they've done to continue the building and the mission of Purium. And I just want to say in closing, that I am here. I'm even more fired up. Just our connection to be able to do this podcast is proof again that this is more than just, a company or some sort of pyramid scheme and all the scammers and the fads we have out there. This is a real mission. I understood that from the beginning. And as I turned 50, I'm living proof. There's nothing to prove. I'm living proof. I'm telling you, I had horrible gut issues, guys. Horrible gut issues. Biomedic, the only patented blend in the world to get glyphosate out of your gut, healed the inner lining of my gut. I know we're not, I'll edit that out. But glyphosate is no longer, it no longer has a grip on my body. I know that I can nourish my body first thing in the morning. Liquid sunshine. You should see what Lucy and Michael Mays, whenever I go visit them in Santa Monica, they make this huge shake and they put the biomedic in there. They put the omegas in there. They put uh, power shake, dark berry, fruits, vegetables, papaya, and we make this huge shake and we sit there and just love on ourselves and one another in the sense that we are truly giving ourselves life-giving food. And that's what you all out there need. That's what you all need out there. And hearing it is important. Seeing it is important. Getting a chance to talk to Dave and hear. Oh, you just went off. There we go. But being able to talk to Dave and just hear his heart, I know now those of you out there who have heard my story and you've seen me on the mission, now one of my partners behind this mission. And we want to make sure that you get connected with Purium, you get connected with us so that you have resources that are going to change the trajectory of your health and your wellness. Dave, what do you want to leave with our listeners out there? What's your message to everybody out there?
So I want to compare myself to two people I have no right comparing myself to. One is the prophet Noah, and the other is Paul Revere. So let's start with the prophet Noah. The prophet Noah saw that there was a flood coming, and he tried to tell everybody. Okay? And the rain started to fall, and still people didn't believe. So he had to do what he had to do, and he gathered up two of all the creatures so they'd be preserved for the next generation. So I saw the rain of chemicals coming. Okay, I tried and tried and tried to warn people that the rain is falling on you and your children now, not later. The storm has come, you know? So please help me spread the word before it's too late. We don't want to just save the animals, man. We got to save us. We got to save our
Absolutely.
brothers and our sisters. Most importantly, we got to save our children. We have to. And if you read my book, The Toxin That Came to Dinner, it's free. Get the
Yes.
toxin that came to dinner. I will show you the correlations between this chemical and 80% of the diseases happening in America today. So let's
Yes.
get to Paul Revere. Okay, Paul Revere, he jumped on that horse. He started saying, the British are coming. So please hear me, okay? The disease is coming. 80% of us are going to die, not natural causes, but from a disease. And yes, I met Jean Clement when she was 120 years, 118 years old. She lived to be 122.
Yes.
And we have so much potential life that we leave on the table. I've met so many people who lived to be over 110, over 100, over 105, and even one who was 110.
Yeah.
So we have so much life we're leaving on our on the table.
Hmm.
And yet we keep being happy with 60, 70, or 80 years to think we live a long time if we live to be 85. No, you just left 20 years on the table. And
Yes,
the
I
last
believe.
10 years were miserable because of
Yes.
all the pharmaceutical drugs they had you on and all the pain you were suffering from.
Mhm.
So let's take that pain and suffering and turn it into opportunity, like the Chinese language. The first two letters, if you would, in tragedy are pain and suffering. But the last is opportunity.
Yes.
Okay? So let's learn and take this opportunity to learn. Let's share and take this opportunity to share. Let's get fire in our bellies. Take this
Yes.
opportunity to turn that fire into other people's bellies instead of glyphosate. I want fire in your belly, not glyphosate.
Fire in your belly. Okay. Yes.
So let me clean out
Like
the
fire
poison
shut
and
up in
put
my
fire
bones.
in, and let's go do this thing.
Let's do it, Dave. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for bringing the fire to the well today. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for all that you do. And we're on this mission together. Guys out there, we're going to make sure that you get $50 towards the superfood store. We're going to make sure you get informed about the ultimate lifestyle transformation, as well as the array of superfoods that you have access to. They're going to be delivered right to your doorstep. Okay, I've got $50 for everybody out there. You're going to get your biomedics so we can start getting glyphosate out the gut, and you're going to get connected to the Purium community through the mark. We're so here for you all. We love you. And Dave, we love you. Thank you for all that you do, man. You are truly a blessing. Blessings to you, blessings to your family. And this next level, we're going higher. We're going higher. We're going fire in our bellies and we're going higher.
Take that fire higher.